Ooh, okay. Oh, okay, so I'll add some spice to it. I'll add some backstory.
Okay.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Happy 2024.
Woohoo! We are back. It's a new year.
New us. Same us.
Same us. Same us. Same Adele and Jess. How are your holidays?
Next question.
Honestly, every time I come back from holidays, I'm like, and it's always Christmas, and I love Christmas. I love the holidays. I love any holiday except Halloween. That's like hard pass. Yeah. It's weird. It's a gateway to the big main event, which is the holidays.
Remembrance Day?
Okay.
You have to keep that in there.
The build up way more than the actual
Yes.
event.
You love the magic of Christmas, not the actual things that we have to do.
And now
the commitments.
I'm so exhausted. And it's not just because I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm just like, I need a vacation from the vacation. And like, I'm so out touched by family. Like, love them. But like, when's the next family gathering?
Easter.
Okay.
Family Day, but that's kind of a joke.
No, we don't do that. We don't celebrate that.
That's just another day off.
Baby's like, yeah,
Baby's
we don't do that.
We do now. There's another one where you're like, really? That's a lot of days for a lot of family.
Yeah, and it's so early this year. Okay, so anyways, if anybody else feels out touched by family, we are here. The number one reason for the season, engagements.
Yep, I think there was probably some girls out there that had a really good holiday season.
Yeah. Did your Instagram get flooded with the...
I definitely took a little social break.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good idea.
It was time. I took a little social break. I did hang out on the TMB Insta a little bit, which was nice.
Okay, good.
And I hung out on TikTok, who knows me too well, so it didn't show me any engagements.
Yeah, TikTok, man.
But I'm sure there was some very magical moments made over the holidays, because what are the two biggest engagement days? Christmas.
It's like Christmas, and then it's
summer.
It's the long weekend in August, which is so weird, which is when I got engaged. So I'm just a basic
and so I got
bee.
engaged over the holidays too. So yeah, well,
here we are.
Yeah.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Do what you know.
I got quite a few, which I thought I was not over this. That's so rude. But like, I thought I was
hump?
like over the cycle, but now I feel like the new cycle.
You got more?
Is starting. Yeah.
I
but
guess.
Like, maybe it was like more distant. Maybe it was like, it was a lot of like friends, siblings.
That's because we're old.
Yeah.
It is the season to show your highlight reel on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Can we talk about that for like 1 second?
Oh, yes.
I swear we are going to be all love and light in 2024. But the Instagram highlight reels, and like, I know we did one for our business, whatever.
Yeah, but we're allowed to.
Yeah, we're allowed to. I get such anxiety going on social media like the few days before New Year's.
Oh, big time. The like, what's the noise that everyone uses?
Oh, and with that, the 2023
and I was
season
like,
comes to an end.
Now I'm like triggered by that. And with that, the 2023 season comes to an end. And I'm like, oh, yep, no. And it's like over and over, the reels are just like, and with that. And I'm like, okay, we get it. We're wrapping. I feel like you did such a lovely job.
I love how I'm like bitching about this, and then I did one. Well, I didn't do one. I just like...
You encapsulated a time.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't cringy, and I guess we're here to pump each other's tires, but it definitely was, I don't think that it was the, hey, look at how cool my shit is. It's like, I'm capturing this moment. Like, I'm pregnant. I may not ever be pregnant again.
Yeah.
This is something to celebrate. And I think that's all the posts that people do, like having their family together for Christmas. And like, it's almost like a catch up for the people I really do want to see, where I'm like, that's so nice.
Yeah,
but it's the flaunting of everything great I did this year.
Yeah.
In the midst of the holiday anxiety, you're like, holy shit.
And like, in all honesty, not to toot my own horn, I had an exceptional 2023. And not everybody did. Like, I got married, I went on my honeymoon, like I found out we were having a baby, like there's like, my dog had babies. Like,
we opened après-ski,
like we
crushed travel.
We went so many places for travel, like, but I just there's something in me, and we're actually going to talk about this today, and maybe this is part of my like imposter syndrome that I have, that it's like I feel so bad sharing that, because I know that other people, like I know I've had those years where I'm like, this has been awful, and I know other people are going through stuff, and like it's just a little showboaty. And it just like, but it shouldn't be, because people should be proud of what they're doing. I don't know what it is.
I know. I think there's a good and a bad way to go about it. I think, and I hope you don't feel that way, because, and I kind of want to do an episode about this, because I'd be very interested to know. It was an extremely exciting year in the first half, and then a hard year in the middle, and has wrapped up in a way that I think is very intentional and good for myself. But I hope that you, especially, not just as a friend, but as like someone who is excelling, can look at the fact that I can still be extremely happy for you.
That's just it.
Yeah. And I think that there's like, and also like, maybe it's because we're older and more self-reflective, that you can see that too.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah. So, and I think that it's important. It's important to have your celebrations. And when we talk about the imposter syndrome as a bride, I think that's important to keep in mind your whole life. As soon as you come across like an exciting thing, like getting married, lean into it. And I think when we talk about it, you and I have very different opinions on how we were brides. And I really tried.
How we leaned into it.
And how we leaned in or out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that anyone out there having a tough year can also appreciate and celebrate their people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a new year, and don't have the like thought that you have to like change your entire life because the calendar changed. Yeah, it's just another day.
I think I want to talk about resolutions for a second, because I think I don't really do resolutions like I do internally, but I think I'm starting this year with intentions.
Okay.
And how I intend.
Can you share?
Yes.
Do you have a word of the year? Because that was one of my questions, because I always have a word of the year.
But maybe I will by the end of this.
Okay.
So instead of being like, this is what I'm going to do health-wise, and this is what I'm going to do time-wise, and I'm going to apply myself X, Y, and Z, I feel like I'm setting intentions to, I think 3 of them, I'm just saying that number because I don't have them listed, to spend time with people that feel like sunshine.
I love that.
I thought you might. Those are the people that like fill my cup without even trying. And I think that that's a post-COVID thing too. I don't have very many people in my life that don't do that, but I also feel like setting some healthy boundaries and only spending time with people who like fill it up is a really big one.
Absolutely.
And then doing more things for me. So I think there's a lot of things on my list that are like, like you need to sign up for that yoga class. And I'm trying not to be like, hey, go to yoga 3 times a week. It's just like choosing yourself when you have the opportunity to, instead of being like, no, I shouldn't do that. I should do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I have a third one, but
I love that. That's good.
Intentions, not resolutions.
I love that.
So maybe my word of the year is intention.
Yeah. I love that.
If I come up with a better one, I'll let you know.
No, I love that. I think like, I love intention. Intentional with your time, with your people, with yourself, with your work. I like that.
Oh, okay, good.
I like this. This is good. I might steal it. That's good. No, my word of the year is going to be trust, I think.
Ooh.
A lot of trust issues.
That's a good word for you.
But like, I think it's like not like trusting other people, although I do need to work on that, but like trusting myself, that I know what's going to be best, and like trusting that I can do things.
That's a great word as you become a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's also goes to the bride too. Like you can read everything all the time about what you should do and what's cringy now and how you should do your photos and blah, blah, blah.
Who should be on your guest list.
Just trust that you and your partner are going to create the event that reflects you guys.
Yeah. And that works for you. I love that. Okay. With all these holiday engagements,
dun, dun, dun,
congratulations, everyone.
Yes.
Woo, we're actually so pumped for you. I think it's crazy. I was reading this article and I shared it like with our direction team in a meeting, because we were like talking about sales numbers, and we're like, last year was a great year, but like we're like expecting, like we want to always be doing better. And we were like talking, we're like, what is like, because we found last year that it took more appointments for people to say yes. And there were, I think it was like something crazy, like there was less 2024 brides than there was since like 20.
Yeah, the numbers are kind of crazy, but
or something like
something to give you guys perspective. It's like in 2022, you're shopping as a 2023 bride. So this past year, we had like 1,000 less 2024 brides.
Yeah.
Because people aren't getting married in 2024, apparently.
And so that's what this article was. It was like this article from Forbes about talking to an engagement ring company. And they were talking about how their sales were down because 2024, for some reason, like there weren't as many engagements in 2023. So their sales in 2023 were down because people weren't getting engaged, which then ripple effects into weddings. And I've talked to some vendors where they're like, yeah, our bookings for 2024 are down, but 2025 is almost like fully booked. And that's kind of like what we're on the precipice of, I think, because
yeah, we saw a lot of keener 2025 brides and sold to a lot of like early 2025 brides.
Yeah.
And we always get that. We get the rush of keeners because they want to get it out of the way.
We love keeners.
We love keeners.
I'm a keener,
yes. So. But I think that also goes to show like there are some people who got engaged in 2023 who are waiting till 2025 because of funding, because of availability, because of all sorts of things. And it's just like it's a rebuilding year maybe for like, who was I talking to? Someone else, like another ring engagement thing where they're just like, yeah, it's like we aren't making as many engagement rings. And you're like, why? It's like, well, because some people are still engaged from COVID.
Exactly. Well, like that's the thing, right? Like people met in COVID, they dated, got engaged maybe at the end of COVID, and we're like, okay, we're going to have like a long engagement. I think the average engagement now is a year and a half.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be 2.
Yeah. So with all these newly engaged people, our bookings are going very, very quickly. So if people are looking to book, please do, especially if you are a 2024 bride still looking. But to the newly...
Also, if you have a priority date, definitely book.
Yes, if you need like this Saturday in February because your mom's going to be in town, like definitely book ahead.
Do it in advance. Set yourself together. Like even if it, again, in February, January is wild because there's a lot of, we see you, 2024 summer girls that are rushing in to either get something off the rack or pay those big rush fees, and here you are. So if you want priority date for your 2025, you need to just set that aside ASAP.
So what would you tell like newly engaged, like just got engaged, Christmas morning?
What would you say to those girls?
Yeah, what are the top 3 things they need to know about wedding dress shopping? Like obviously timeline.
Yeah, so I would say go and book your venue first, because I would say that's the first thing you should do, because lots of girls will like storm the gates right now and they have a hard time imagining themselves at the top of the aisle when they're dress shopping. So and it changes like
because they don't have a venue, you're saying? Okay.
So it's like
that's fair.
So if you got married where like I did, where it was really, really squishy, small space, I would never wear a ball gown. And if you're going back and forth between something with like an insane train or this and that, there are some things that you're like, shit, maybe I don't want to walk down a bazillion stairs in this. Or maybe I don't want, or maybe this is too revealing for the church, X, Y, and Z. So figure out where, and that goes with the when too. Like your venue is going to tell you what's available. That really helps, I think, with the process of finding your dress, because it's not, we don't ever tell girls like, oh, you're going to marry in Mexico, you have to wear chiffon, but it does help you imagine. Like we're going to put you in whatever you want. You want to wear Mikado on the beach?
Sure.
Tons of girls have done it.
Sign me up.
Do it. I don't care. But you have to consider those things, and it gives you almost unease when you're like, well, I don't really know where we're getting married. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's a good one. And then, so you book your venue, and then that's usually the way that it does go. Like and to your point there, the times where people don't have venues, they definitely, like, we're not just making that up. That's like definitely like they're a bit more wishy-washy about like, would this fit the vibe?
Oh, well, if we go with that venue, it'll
then
be
I'll
summer.
go with this dress. Yeah. Timeline on shopping though too. So like if you just got engaged Christmas 2023 and you're looking for a 2024 venue and wedding, like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's
still
like,
doable.
Yeah, I think you have to decide how fast and furious you want to do this process. Like that was a big one for me, because I was like, I don't want to wait for the next summer, which would have been a year and a half. I was like, let's go within a year. Then I have to make decisions a little bit quicker, and it's just like bing, bang, boom.
Do you feel like that it's fair to say that the quicker you do it, the more expensive it probably is.
I think depending on your vision. Like,
Okay.
I definitely, like, if you are going to go with the flow for everything and be like, well, that's not available, scratch it. Or, this and that. Like, I'd say if you are really, really easygoing and your vision is kind of coming together as you plan, I think you can definitely do a shorter timeline, kind of like, because if it was, what did I talk to? I talked to one of these girls. I did an appointment with some girl and she was just like, things are just coming together and that's not who I am or you.
No.
And so she's like, we decided we want to get married in June because, I don't know, Joe Blow is the only time he can come from Australia. And so we want Joe Blow to be there. And so we're going to get married in June. And it's January. I'm doing this appointment or something. And she's like, just show me everything that I can have off the rack or show me everything I can have in time for June. And she just picked from that. Like, you have to lower your standards, but also like, it's not lowering your standards, it's lowering your expectations for the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Because you can find, and she found something beautiful.
Like, yeah, you're going to find a gorgeous dress. Like, if you had free reigns of a full year or 14 months, could you have found something else? Maybe. But that's always the situation,
that's
right?
always the situation. And she's like, hey, well, this band wasn't available, so we went with this. And it's just like, you have to settle your expectation for what you really want everything to look like. So I think knowing that is a big one. So if you're just like, I really want to make the summer and I really want all these vendors, you have to be more flexible. If you want a shorter timeline, you have to be flexible. That's the name of the game. If you have, if you're getting married 2025, early 2025 or summer 2025, then you should be rocking up and shopping with us and having that time to discover your silhouette and like giving yourself and making peace with the amount of time you have.
Yes.
So when you settle on your date, trust the vendors who you reach out to. Like, you're going to be shell shocked by some people's lead times and some people's like cost. I think that a big part of what I did first was sit down and talk about what was important to myself and what was important to my partner. Yeah. And then that was where most of the money went.
Okay.
So
that's a good third point.
That was, it was one of those things where I was just like, you have to like, so set your date, make peace with your time, and then set aside what's important. Because in the end, like for me, obviously my dress was super important. A bunch of my budget went to that. And florals were also important to me, but things that like stationery wasn't, like we designed our own thing.
Offensive.
Sorry. Like it wasn't, I took advantage of my very good friend Adele and she did all the design for me and she probably sweat her dick off for like a whole 8 months she's like, we need to print it now. No, there's just certain things that if you know that it's really important to your partner, then you make extra, like it's really important that he has, I don't know, the late night truck and it's going to cost a chunk, but it's part of where you met or something, whatever it is. The same way when you rock up for your dress and you're like, this isn't super, super important to me, you're not going to break budget. Or if you're like, okay, I really, really have a very particular vision. I want a little wiggle room in case what I really want costs more. Yeah. So I think that you have to keep in mind the same thing with florals. If you have if it doesn't really, really matter to you, then you can continue to impress that on your florist to be like, I want something really simple. Like, please keep that in mind that like we want things that are in season or whatever. Yeah. So remember your wiggle room with things that are really important, and that includes your dress. Because if you have a particular vision and you're really disappointed that your budget doesn't get you there, then you have to have priority to have flex. And if you don't, then we can make whatever budget work. It's just you have to flex your expectation of that.
Yeah, and I think when you're talking there, like I just started thinking that, obviously like we operate in this like wonderful bridal bubble where in our perfect rose-colored glasses, everybody is the most excited to go wedding dress shopping and that is like the pinnacle of the wedding planning. But there are a lot of people that we meet and that come in that the wedding dress isn't the be all end all, which is totally fine too. Like we don't need you to like feel like you have to think this is the
you don't have to
thing
cry.
In the world.
Yeah, like I think
like
that's
just like some people it's just another garment and it's like they do want something like particular, they want something, but it's not that like maybe to them like the florals are more important or the like DJ or like whatever it is, which is totally fine. Like we don't need you to come in here like feeling, and if you do come in here guns a-blazing, like,
we've got the consultant for you.
we will match your energy. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
but
I think that's a really, really good point to make, because some girls come in and they're just like, I just want to feel comfortable and beautiful, and I don't have any expectations, and I don't have a lot of time. And that's like, those are all good things to tell your consultant right off the hop, because she's doing the categorization in her mind, like the Rolodex of what's available to you and what your needs are. We're there to like meet your needs. So prioritizing what's important, making peace with your time, booking a friggin' venue.
Yeah, do it.
Good luck to you.
And we just released our 2024 newly engaged babes guide to wedding dress shopping.
Ooh.
Yeah, it has a lot of tips and like terminology and like a bunch of stuff in there. So it's free. Download it before your appointment, read it, and then come see us.
Mm-hmm.
Win-win.
Win-win-win-win.
Win-win-win-win. Okay, last thing I want to talk about today is something that we've like had on our list of like podcast ideas for a while. And it's this idea of a bridal imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Like having an imposter syndrome as the bride. And I read this article and Jess laughed at me and was like, did you write the article? And I was like, I did not. I specifically searched it out because I'm like, other people have to feel the way that I felt. And I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Psychology Today. I can't remember where it was.
Probably.
I think it was, yeah. And it was talking about this idea that as somebody getting married, you have this like imposter syndrome that comes from the added attention towards you, that you feel like, in my case, like I felt very unworthy of the attention. Like I'm just another person like getting married. Like other people are getting married this year. Like you can like I don't need to have a bridal shower. Like other people are getting married, or like whatever.
Or that person's getting married first. Like we should do their things first. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Like
or like I don't want to steal their light. And it was like intentionally playing small during my bridal era to make other people feel bigger, but not with them needing me to feel bigger.
Yeah, I don't think it was
like it's an internal thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not an intention where you're like, okay, well that so and so is doing this, so like I can't do that. It's more like I feel like I don't want that because I don't feel like I need it, and should I need it? Should I want it? And like is everyone doing that? Or like, you know what, maybe I'm not that bride, maybe I'm not this. And it's like, you don't have to identify as a bride if you don't want to. Like if you just want to keep it real simple, like, and your favorite word is no, like you have to tell your mom-in-law that you don't want to have a shower. Yeah. And for the right reasons, obviously. But like that's the whole thing is that this wedding should be about you and your partner. But I think there's a lot of validity to every imposter syndrome. And I think it's an awareness of lots of personal issues. Yeah. But it's something of like, if you can call it out, you can enjoy the bridal process a lot more.
For sure. Because
just like we were saying in the beginning about like someone having a hard year and someone having a great year, there's room for both. And there is room to lean into what you want, and you should be celebrated, and your relationship should be celebrated. I think that's the coolest thing about a wedding. And that was what I was most excited about, is like everybody in this room loves both of us. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the only time that this is going to happen. So you did not lean into your bridal era, and I did. And I have not saying that I'm super arrogant, because I have imposter syndrome in a lot of areas in my life. Definitely as a business owner, always as a business owner, and as a leader in this company. And when people, I don't think you guys know that you wake up every morning and you're like, how do people trust me to do these things?
Oh yeah, all the time.
So I think that there's a leaning, I can be aware of that and still lean in. So I think that with bridal era, I did not have this imposter syndrome because Colin and I had been together for like 10 plus years, and it was like a finale. Like I was like, finally, like I was like, yes, I finally get to have it. I've wanted it for so long. So I never really even batted an eye. And I was like, yeah, I'm a bride. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go to Greece for my bachelorette. Yeah, I'm going to have 8 bridesmaids. What's it to you? Like, I think that there was, but also being cognizant of the fact that like we were in such a cool situation where we got to celebrate together. Yeah. And I hope that my like big wake of energy brought you along with it to celebrate it a little bit more, because I think that anyone who's met Adele doesn't celebrate herself nearly enough. And it was cool to be like, hey, like, let's celebrate this together. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. And I think that there's a lot of pressure. So if you're feeling that way, you're definitely not alone. There's pressure to perform as a bride. There's pressure
100%.
to say things as a bride, speeches, appearances, like how you look.
Yeah, which we're going to get into very, very shortly. I am so excited for that episode. I think that there's so many pressures, and I think those pressures create the imposter syndrome that you're like, well, I can't live up to it, so I'm not a bride. I don't feel like a bride. And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like,
nothing.
what does that mean? Anybody can be a quote unquote bride. You can do, and we have that when girls come in and they're shopping for a dress and they'll be like, I don't really like the attention on me, and I don't want to feel like a bride.
Or how am I supposed to feel? Like, what am I supposed to?
Yeah, like looking for validation that they're like, do I know that this is the one? And like even the idea of like a dress being the one plays into that like imposter syndrome, that you're like, oh, I don't know if there's like a dress made for me for whatever reason. And like there is 100% your dress somewhere. Hopefully it's at the Modern Bride, but if it isn't, that's okay too.
We still love you.
Yeah, but like I think this idea is something that we need to hopefully help to eradicate, and I have some marketing ideas on how we do that. Yeah.
I think if you can't eradicate it, then you should be friends with it.
Yes. And you just need to, grant yourself the grace always to be okay with it. Like I don't regret not leaning in more. I think I can honestly say that.
But you did cause yourself a lot of internal turmoil.
100%.
Processing it over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's what I regret, how much I cared about it. And I think Mel Robbins did a Diary of a CEO at the beginning of December, and if anybody listens to that podcast, you know how good of an episode it was. But she has her let them theory, where it's like, if somebody thinks like you're being obnoxious as a bride, like let them think that, who cares? Like,
doesn't change
why
anything.
would that ever so it's just like,
not
that's
harming anyone in the process, then what's the
and usually like their thing is coming from like a space of like jealousy, and like I think like and we'll talk about it again when we talk about like bridal and body image and stuff, but like this idea that like we were from a generation where like you play coy, and like that's part of you being,
and you have to look the best you've ever looked on your wedding day. Yeah.
And like we are trying to reshape this idea of being like modern women and like modern people getting married, and like to have this like idea that you can just like, your bridal era can be like whatever you want it to be. Grant yourself the grace. The imposter syndrome doesn't need to happen.
That's your inner saboteur talking.
Yeah.
Like that person, like you said, is ruining your enjoyment of your bridal era.
Yeah.
That your inner saboteur is being like, hey, you don't actually deserve this. Let's think about it a little bit longer.
Yeah. And if it's something like literally like, say it's you having a bridal shower, which we both didn't have bridal showers, but like say you were having a bridal shower and I was like, oh, well, like I want Jess to have a bridal shower. I don't want to have a bridal shower. Like, whereas if I asked you, like, are you okay if we both have bridal showers? You'd be like, yeah.
Why are you asking me?
Like, that's really weird. This conversation end. Like, it's funny, but like in my head, I would have been like, no, I can't, because that's like asking the same people to come celebrate me that just celebrated Jess.
Yeah.
So don't do it. But if you do it, call us.
Yeah.
We can help you through it, because we have been there, pals. So we are going to end that episode like we always end the episode, with a question from you. These questions come to our emails. So if you want to email us at media@tmodernbride.com, any of your questions, or you can always send us a DM too. Everything obviously remains anonymous unless you want us to like say your name. And in that case, I just want you on the podcast, because that's hilarious. But this one is, so I had hi TMB. So I had a falling out with one of my quote unquote best friends. That sucks. She was getting married. We had the falling out before she talked about bridal party, so I don't know if I was ever going to be in it, but my thought is I probably would have been maid of honor, or at least a bridesmaid. So she has since asked me to not attend the wedding.
Isn't that the same as just not giving her an invite? Never mind, continue.
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe...
You're banned for my wedding?
Yeah, or maybe she sent her an invite and then said, don't
maybe. Okay.
come. maybe after it got like worse, maybe.
Ooh. Okay, this is spicy. Keep going.
Yeah. Am I the B for showing up to the wedding even after the bride said she didn't want me there?
Yes. Sorry. Sympathies to your lost friendship. I've been there. Yeah, I don't, again, the parameters around it, my first obviously response is yes, you are the B for going there even though people asked you not to. If you were like a sister, then I would be like, yeah, go, because you're family. She can't ban you. Yeah. And if you were close, like right up until, but again, maybe you slept with her husband to be, right? Like you never know what the parameters are.
Yeah, I feel like we need more details on this before we can truly commit to.
But I do feel like if she intentionally asked you not to be there, you kind of have to respect her wishes.
But like also my thought is, why would you want to be there if people have said that you're not, like they don't want you there?
Yeah.
Why would you go? Like obviously you're going to make a scene.
Yes, obviously you're going to stir up the shit, kick up the dust.
None of us are above that.
No, but maybe you sit this one out. This is someone's wedding day. And I would be, as the bride, there's so many things that happen on that day where you're like, it's fine, and you let it go. And if someone showed up when I told them not to be there, that would probably be the straw, and I would probably lose it.
Yeah. Because
there's just lots that happens on your day, and this is to prepare you guys, that just is disappointing. Like there's things that you just have to like let it go. You gotta like,
oh, for sure,
water off a duck's back and just be like, it's fine, it's happening, it is what it is. But if I intentionally was like, I really don't want this to happen, the same way you tell the DJ I don't want to hear the Macarena, and they play the Macarena, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. And that's how I would feel if somebody I asked specifically. And if I asked them in a nice way, you definitely have to respect that. Maybe you guys are constantly fighting and she was a B the way she asked you, but you definitely need to respect. That's an event. Like it's private.
I'm going to put up a poll on Instagram when we post this. I want to know what people think. Also, what is a duck in a back? What did you just
Water off the duck's back. It's like how you let things go. It's because water beads off a duck. It doesn't like absorb it. Like their feathers are a little bit oily, so they don't get wet. So they're so water off a duck's back.
2024, the year we let the water roll off the duck's back.
Yeah. Let it go.
Happy New Year, pals.
Let them. Let that water bead.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye. Bye.